Ahead of the 60th annual forecast dinner, CFA Society Winnipeg interviewed long-standing members to reflect on their early careers, the changes they've witnessed, and lessons learned along the way. The following clips are their responses. Can you talk about your experience writing the CFA exams?
I started my CFA experience in 2009 and was right at the bottom of the financial crisis when I was digging into level 1. I think it was a fantastic time to start the program. I spent 6 months studying for each and every exam, and it really just was my entire focus for that period of time. I feel for anyone still working towards one of those levels. All 3 of them were just a grind, and it really required major commitment and understanding from friends and family.
Can you talk about how the CFA designation helped your career?
It really helped me transition my career. I started out in the accounting industry, did an accounting designation, had a finance background, but didn't know necessarily how to break into the industry other than some of the experience I got in university and in some finance courses. And on the encouragement of some friends, they suggested the CFA program, and passing an exam allowed me to pivot into a career that I wanted to pursue, and it just sort of snowballed from there.
Yeah, so the CFA designation was a huge benefit to my career. After I finished the first level, it allowed me to get my first real job in the investment industry, which was a treasury job. And while I was in that job, my employer paid for my first 2 levels, as well as the study seminar that I attended. And once I finished the exam, with the exam under my belt and my experience, I was able to move to my current job, which is Director of Investments and Asset Liability Management. So it was definitely a huge benefit to my career.
What advice would you give to candidates and new charter holders?
Don't underestimate the exam. I think that's probably the biggest. Make sure you leave time to actually dedicate to study. It's hard work. Even if you know the materials, part of it is a mind game. It's really testing your ability to know and regurgitate the materials in time pressure. And I don't think that's changed at all the 20 years since I've written it.
What advice would you give to future leaders of CFA Society Winnipeg?
The advice I'd give to future leaders would be, make sure you network within your community, talk to the other CFA members, also try and talk to the presidents and leaders of other societies throughout Canada and the United States.
Can you talk about the relevance of the CFA designation in today's markets, relative to when you got your designation?
Yeah, I think it's just as relevant as it was when I got my designation. I know when we're looking for investment staff, really the CFA is sort of the minimum acceptable standard these days. I think it was the same way when I started. Even though the world's got more complex and more specialized in a lot of areas of investments, CFA is sort of that all-around experience that we would look for in any candidate.
Can you talk about the changes you've seen in Winnipeg's investment community throughout your career?
And local investment industry has grown dramatically. I think when I finished the exams in the early 2000s, there was probably around 100 members of the local society, and now I think we're over 300. So there's been huge growth, and I think there's also a lot more opportunities in the local society in terms of types of employers. So I think there's more job opportunities than there ever has been in the local community.
My first exposure to a CFA-related event was a forecast dinner. At that time, it was the early 80s, and it was sponsored by an organization which is the predecessor to CFA, which is AIMR, Association for Investment Management and Research. It was held at the Squash Club in a meeting room, right? The speaker was Don Cox, and he used to work for a company called Gordon Capital. So if you remember any of that, then you are truly a senior member of the CFA Winnipeg. You look at where the society has grown to now, there's over 300 members, and the forecast dinner has topped 500 participants before. So well done, CFA Winnipeg. You've truly grown up, and kudos to the Winnipeg investment community as well too for adopting CFAs into the workplace and into the investment community.
Can you talk about the impact that CFA Society Winnipeg has had on you and your career?
So I've had relationships with many CFA leaders from CFA Institute, as well as from across the world. I have some good friends now throughout the globe that are like-minded CFA charter holders. When I was active on the board, I really pushed a lot of the women in finance mandates, and it really allows you to bring the different focuses to light.
For me, being involved in CFA Society Winnipeg has really just been an opportunity to build my own network here. Not having gone to university in Winnipeg or even starting my career in Winnipeg, I wanted to get to know who's here, who are my peers, who's a part of this industry here. And participating on the board of CFA Winnipeg really allowed me to do that.
Can you talk about some of the challenges you feel current and future CFA charter holders might face?
Without a doubt, technology is changing our roles. It's advancing at an incredible rate. Anyone who has uploaded an Excel spreadsheet or a company balance sheet to a large language model AI program and asked it to analyze or summarize the data will experience what I'm speaking of. That is both a threat and an opportunity, right? It has the ability to challenge some lesser roles, but there's going to be no substitute for second sober thought when it comes to investment decision making. So regardless of how technology advances, I think we should all use that as an opportunity to take advantage of rather than view it as a threat.
Today you're hearing about AI and how computers are doing our thinking for us. I just caution anyone in the investment decision-making process that make sure your input material to your research and the things that you're making your decision on, make sure they're authentic, make sure you know where they're coming from, and also don't be afraid to put your thoughts, your experience into that investment decision-making process.